Hey guys, Brian here at home, and I just wanted to make a follow-up video to my basic structure of a workout video. This is keeping a workout journal. It's incredibly important that you keep accurate records of your training in the gym and of your nutrition. You have to keep accurate records of everything because you will have no way of knowing if you're making progress unless you have something to reference and you can show evidence of improvement over time. You have no way of knowing if you're actually making progress. And if you already kind of know that you're not making progress because maybe your weight on the scale is not going down, or you just can't seem to get to the next dumbbell. You've been using 35s for a particular exercise, and hard as you might, you just can't get that 10th rep with the 40s, and you don't know what's going on. You will have no way of troubleshooting your efforts if you don't have accurate records. Maybe you've been eating too many calories. In fact, if you're not losing weight, that's more than likely what it is. But how many calories is that? How many calories should you reduce by to get yourself back towards losing weight? You have no way of knowing unless you have accurate workouts. Or not accurate workouts, I'm sorry, but accurate records of your nutrition. And so this is going to be how you keep a workout journal and how you keep it accurate and what should you measure. That's the most important question. What should you measure? Like, what's worth measuring, right? The old business saying goes, what gets measured gets managed, but measure what matters. And what I would suggest at a practical minimum is that you want to know the date, you want to know when this happened, you want to know the time you started training, and you want to know the time you ended training. Because later, we're going to calculate something called the work-to-rest ratio. And it's kind of a measurement of the density of your workout, the amount of work that you've done in this unit of time, however long or short that was. You also want the names of the exercises. You want the time it took you to reach failure if you're using high-intensity training. You want the time it takes you to reach failure. You want the weight that you used. And you also want the order that you perform the exercises in. The order that you perform the exercises in makes a pretty huge difference. At least for me, if I were to perform the leg press exercises or the body weight exercises or body weight squat exercises before I do push-ups, my push-ups are going to suffer because my legs won't be strong enough really to hold me. Also, there is a significant increase in the metabolic demand of certain exercises over others. A bicep curl requires relatively little energy compared to doing a leg press or deadlifts. So if you do these very demanding exercises before you do other exercises, your later exercises will definitely take a hit. In fact, because of the fatigue that you accumulate throughout the course of a workout, whatever your first exercise is, you will always do best on because you're coming fresh. Whatever your last exercises are, those are the exercises that you can expect to do worst on because they're at the end. You're ragged out by the end of this, or at least you should be. And so the final exercises will not get as much of your effort as the first exercises will. So sometimes it can be useful to change the order of the exercises. But if you don't record the order that you perform these exercises in, you're going to have no way of knowing how to make those changes when and if that time comes. So, just taking a practical example, here is a sheet here. And so this happened on 4/14, and with the chest press exercise, failure was reached in a minute and a half with 88 pounds. Now, whenever you're doing high intensity training, at least if you're doing kind of a super slow protocol, you want to reach failure, momentary muscular failure, within about 90 to 120 seconds. So that would be a minute and a half to 2 minutes. So we're at a minute and 50. So we're kind of approaching the further end of this limit. And so what does this mean to us? If this was you, if you did the chest press exercise with 88 pounds, and you reached failure in a minute and 50 seconds, should you go up, down, or stay the same next week when you train? You know, it's kind of your call, but I would go up. I would go up and push the exercise and see if you can't push the exercise down. And in fact, what ended up happening was this person went up to 90 pounds, and the next time they came back in, they reached failure at about 1 minute and 50 seconds again. And of course, I mean, they start with the chest press exercise, and then the next week they came back and they did 92, and they did it for 1 minute and 53 seconds. Right, so they're maintaining their time and they're going up in weight. I can now say with this that this individual is objectively getting stronger every single time he comes to the gym, because this happens on 414, this happens on 421, and this happens on 428. Right? Can you see the differences here? Right? Let's see. So with these numbers, with this, so if you had a piece of paper that had these numbers on it, you could say, yeah, I'm getting stronger, and yeah, I'm maintaining my time. And then, when we decide to bump you up, not 2 pounds, but 3 pounds, right? So we take you from 92 to 95, and all of a sudden your time drops to 1 minute and 40. Okay, we went up in 2 pound increments, and you maintained your time. We went up by 3 pounds, and you lost a bit of time. Your time went down. It's still within the acceptable range, but it definitely lets us know that 2 to 3 pound increments is all that this individual is ready to handle. And so let's find another really good example here. Oh, so then next week, individual comes back, and we bump him up because of his time, because he was 1 minute 40, so he's just slightly over that range, and we went up 3 pounds and still had good results. So let's bump him up another 3. So we go from 95 to 98, and lo and behold, his time plummets to 1 minute and 20 seconds. He is now under this range. So next week, what happens? Just fill these out. So next week, what do? Right, we were going up in 2 pound increments, and he maintained his time to momentary muscular failure. Momentary muscular failure means that he is training incredibly intensely, and that he is reaching failure, that's all he's got. That if you put a gun to his head and said, finish another repetition, he couldn't do it. So he reached failure at about the same time. We're going up in 2 pound increments. We go up in a 3 pound increment, and we notice a pretty decent drop. We go up in 3 pound increments again, and we notice a pretty significant drop. And so what happens is that we keep him at 98 pounds. And what ends up happening is 1 minute and 16. Wait, so we kept him at the same weight, and he did slightly worse in his time under load. He reached failure slightly earlier. This lets us know that this is a trouble spot, right? Something is happening here. And so this is what lets us know that we need to check everything else. We need to find out if maybe the number of exercises has gone up. And actually, that turns out to be true. It turns out that this individual is performing more exercises than he was before. And it may be that by the time he gets to doing his chest press exercise, that he's really tired. In fact, this is actually not true. The chest press is not the first exercise that he does. The leg press is actually the first exercise, but that was for demonstrational purposes. You need to know that you need to be tracking the exercise order. So we'll take another example. Let's go with leg curls. Okay. So we're going to go with the leg curl, right? So with this particular leg curl, this particular individual, we are going to start at 113. 113 pounds, or at least on the device. It's air device. So it may not be pound for pound. And then we reach failure in 2 minutes. Right? And so maybe we'll say that like this is the first exercise, this is the second exercise, this is the third. So that way in future exercises we can switch it up. Maybe we don't do the chest press first, maybe we do something else. So he's curling 113 and he's at 2 minutes. Well, this guy needs to go up. This guy needs to, level up. He's at the far end of this range here. And so that's exactly what happens. Next week, 116, you go up 3 pounds. But he's at 2 minutes again. Eek. So what can we do? We bump him up 3 pounds, right? So maybe he does that second again, and we go up 119. And then some crazy how going up 3 pounds results in a 30-second reduction in the time it takes him to reach failure. And then we leave him there. He's right at 1.5 minutes. Like he's right on this border. We're just going to let him hang out there. And we go back 119. And this time his time climbs up to 1 minute and 42 seconds. Fantastic. And then something funny happens. Something funny happens is that our hero comes in and he's all set to go at 122, and I have X's. And there are X's written across his slot. And then there's he did deadlifts. So there's X's, and it looks like he did deadlifts instead. And I know that there was an injury. This person pulled something in his leg while he was swimming, and so when he came in to do curls, he started to experience some pain. And so the exercise was stopped and deadlifts were chosen instead. But you can see this steady progression, and then when like something weird happens, you're like, what happened there? Oh, injury, deadlifts instead. And this is important, and this is important also for metabolic adaptations, for tracking your metabolism and whether or not you are getting better at performing more work in the same amount of time. And that's this work to rest ratio, and we're going to go over this briefly. We're pushing 13 minutes here. So let's just say that there's a third exercise. I don't know. We'll go pull downs, and I'm just making up numbers now. So 90 pounds and 1 minute and 20 seconds. Okay. So your work to rest ratio here is a measurement of how much work you're producing in a given amount of time. And you can calculate that by converting the time you spent working into seconds. So that would be 15 times 60. I'm going to show this real quick. So we get, if you started at noon and you ended at 12:15, you spent 15 minutes total time training. The total workout was 15 minutes. That's 900 seconds for the workout. Now, how much time did you actually spend working? Well, the total time that you spent working is all of the time under loads, right? Because the time under loads is how long you spent performing each exercise to failure. And anything that is not that kind of work was rest. So we take like a minute. In fact, we'll just make this 1 minute and 10 to make it easier. So we got like 1 minute and 10 and 1 minute and 50, so that's 3 minutes. That's 2 minutes on top of that. That's 5 minutes. So 5 times 60, right? So we just do 5 times 60. We get 300 seconds of actual work. And so we divide these two. We divide the total time we spent working into the time that of the total workout. So we get 300 seconds, the time we actually spent working, divided by 900 seconds, which is the time of the total workout, and we get a number less than 1. And the number that we get is decimal 33 repeating. And this can be thought of as a percentage. when you add this up, what it basically means is that there was, in 15 minutes, there was 5 minutes of work, 5 minutes of work, and there was 10 minutes of rest. So 10 minutes was actual work, and then 10 minutes of that was rest, was just sitting around not doing anything. So he only spent 33% of the time actually training. What we want is we want this number to go up. This helps us be mindful of our rest, that he takes an average of 10 minutes of rest for the entire workout. 10 minutes divided by 3, he's spending somewhere around 3 minutes resting in between each of these exercises. And so we want to bring that rest time down and move him more quickly in between exercises. But if you don't keep these kinds of records, you're not going to be able to perform this kind of troubleshooting. Their strength might go up, but their metabolic conditioning might go to shit. And you would have no way of knowing that they're resting too much. So we're pushing 17 minutes. I hope this video has shown you the importance of keeping an accurate workout journal. And I hope I've given you some thoughts for the kinds of things that you would like to track in your workout journal. And if you keep track of these things, if you do decide to consult a personal trainer, such as myself, later on, then we will know how to help you because we will have accurate records to go back through and we can help you troubleshoot. So as always, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. And tell your mom, tell your friends, tell people you don't even know about these videos. And have a great day.